Hi, this is Brandy McDonald, entertainment writer for the Oklahoman and News OK. We have a special guest in our studio today. This is Brennin Hunt. He is an actor and singer, most recently from Fox's production of Rent, and also a singer out in Nashville, and he's been on the show Nashville, but he's originally from Hera, so we're happy to have him here in the studio while he's in town. I think he's visiting some family, and convalescing a little bit. So we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
He's got crutches. He's got crutches hanging around here somewhere. He can't leave without them. So, but thanks for coming in today, and welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome back to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your Oklahoma background, because you come from Hera. But talk to us about how you got started in music out there.
Well, my family, all from Ada, is all country musicians. So my grandmother and her sister had a duo in the 40s. And then my aunt and cousin had a duo in the 80s. And then I moved to Nashville with my wife in, was that 2007, to carry the flag and try to continue the country legacy. And turns out I'm an actor, I guess. So I've been getting acting roles and spending more time in LA than Nashville these past couple months. So it's been an interesting journey, to say the least.
So how did it, first of all, I think you married your high school sweetheart, and I guess you both kind of decided to make this like your life, going out to Nashville and trying to do the country music thing. So I guess that's nice to have somebody out there with you.
Absolutely, yeah. Kelly, we've been together since she was 14 and I was 15 in Hera, if anybody knows where Hera is. So, you know, she's known that I've been a singer-songwriter and an artist, you know, from day one, and so she's been the biggest supporter and actually runs our business and handles all the finances. And I couldn't do any of this without her. So we do work as a team, and moving to Nashville was a big jump, and she had the real job for many years while I was scraping by trying to find work in the music industry. And so we finally found something. It took about 12 years, but we found it.
Yeah.
A little show called Rent.
Well, let's talk about Rent. So how did you end up getting cast in this? Because you did not have a small part in it. You played Roger, which is one of the main roles in the production.
Yeah, and I still pinch myself to this day. I don't know how I got the job. I know technically how I got it. They found me online. So they've been searching for Roger for about 3.5 months. Oh. And I got an email from my website email and said we'd be interested in having Brennin audition for the role of Roger. And for me, well, it's funny, it's because they didn't know these emails all come to me anyway, so I'm like, yes, Brennin would like to audition for Rent.
Oh, yes, the famous artist third-person email.
Yeah. So anyway, they wanted me to do a self-tape, and so I set my iPhone up and did a couple of takes, and my wife was like, send that one in, and I'm like, baby, that's my first take, and I messed up the words there, and I'm flat on that note. She's like, trust me, that's your take, send it in. And always listen to your wife, because she was right, and I ultimately got the job, so.
So this was your first musical theater gig. I don't know if you'd ever done any growing up or anything, but I had heard that this was like your first experience in musical theater, which is a whole different realm of performing.
It's a totally different ballgame, and the only thing I had done up to that point was, I think I did one little stanza in Mary Poppins when I was in like the 3rd grade. So like I don't even remember what grade it was. I just remember going up to the mic nervous and singing, you know, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Nice.
So, but you know, Rent it's definitely its own thing, and I always say this will probably be the hardest job that I'll ever do in my career, because it is singing, acting, dancing, all of the above, you know, just all in one live performance. Even though it didn't air live, it was a 24-hour earlier live performance. So nice. That was another thing I like to tell people. It's like, it was live, it just happened a day earlier.
There you go.
So
tell us a little bit, because I think you had to, you and your family like moved from Nashville to LA for like months to work on this. So it wasn't like something that they just threw up kind of overnight. I mean, it was something that was a big commitment and a big deal, because this was obviously a national broadcast of supposed to be air live musical, which is not a small production.
No, and it's, you know, that was, you know, ultimately when I broke my foot, there was a lot of disappointment, obviously, mostly for me, because this is one of my big breaks, and I love the show so much, and it happened literally the night before we go live. So this thing has been planned out for almost 2 years with a creative team, and then for each of us as cast, we've been working on it for 4 months. You know, we've been working 2 months together, sometimes 10 to 12 hours a day. On the staging and everything like that. So the producer's decision to ultimately show what we did on Saturday, I think, was the right decision, because that was what all of us were working for to give to the public, and it turned out to be, you know, a day earlier, but it's still the same performance that we were going to give. So it is definitely a lot that went into it, a lot of money, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and I had a lot of tears the night before when I broke my foot, because I was like, no, this can't happen right now. But sure. You know, we had an awesome Sunday night. We actually put on a concert for the live audience while it was simultaneously going on through the world. And you know, I'm wheeling around in my chair, and everybody's just improvising, and it was a really beautiful moment. And they captured all of that on film, so I'm hoping at some point that they release that footage as well. So, I mean, eventually you're going to have 2 rent live versions out to the public. So I think everything happens for a reason.
So let's talk a little bit about what happened at I guess it was a live dress rehearsal, and it was being recorded in case there was any sort of technical difficulty or any sort of problem, and then you ran into a problem, I guess, in the course of doing this, unfortunately. And I'm not going to make any jokes, because I'm sure you've heard them all about not breaking a leg seriously and all that stuff. So.
Well, it's now break a foot.
Yeah.
So. No, we had our recorded rehearsal that we did the night before, which they could call a safe recording or whatever, because just in case something like this does happen, they have that footage. So luckily for me, it broke at a time where I'd already gotten through La Vie Boheme and that choreography, and jumping off tables and running up and down steps and doing the stage diving and climbing ladders that happened right after What You Own before the finale on Saturday. And so right when we finish What You Own, we have a 4-minute commercial break. And so Jordan Fisher and I have to run about 150 yards down the soundstage, down 2 flights of steps to get to our little changing booth and change really quick, and then run back out and be ready for the final scene. And so we were just full sprint. He was behind me. I run down the stairs like I'd done a million times, and down the 2nd flight, and when I took that left to turn back around to where our quick change was, my foot just rolled over and it snapped the bone that connects the heel to all the bones on the top of your foot.
So I guess then you guys, I guess all the decision making sort of came into play. Were you in on that, or were you at the hospital getting like doped up on
I definitely had
good drugs?
Yeah, I definitely had a say in it. We, you know, Gracie Parker, one of our talent people, was there with me at the ER, and then Mark Platt, the executive producer, came to be with me through my X-ray and my CT scan. And when the CT scan came back that it was broken, and told us the exact break, that I can't put weight on it, or I'll have to have surgery, and it'll cause arthritis, you know, later in life. So they're basically like, you can't work. And so we sat there and we went through some scenarios, and this is at 1:30 at this point, so we didn't even get the results until 1:30 in the morning, the day that we're supposed to go live.
Right.
And so Mark just told me to sleep on it and call him in the morning. And I texted him that night before I went to bed at like 3 or 4 in the morning and said, you know, my gut is telling me to come out and do it in a cast or whatever I have on my foot, just to give them a live experience, maybe restaging it. And that was one of the things he had recommended as well. And so he said, call me in the morning and let me know how you feel. And so basically we called him, and I said, let's go ahead with it. And then he gave me the idea that they're going to do like a live essential concert, just sitting around, and people can improvise and move around if they want to while the broadcast goes out. And so yeah, that was the plan, and I had only gotten about 2 hours of sleep that night, so my voice was tired after, you know, we had done 3 run-throughs already up to that point, so I was pretty tired. And they were so sweet, and they were like, anything you want to sing, you can sing. Anything you want to dip out of, you can dip out of. And so I would wheel in and sing a couple of the numbers, and then wheel out, and Jordan would take, you know, he's like, bro, I got you. I'll sing in whatever you want. So he was super sweet to step in, and because they wanted me to have my voice for the finale, because that was going to be the one live moment. Right. And I have to sing really high in that. So
yes. Because you have Roger's big song, the song that he spends the whole musical trying to write.
Yeah.
His last big song.
So I had to be there for it.
Is what you have for the finale. That's the end. So I guess, how did you prep for that? Being tired, being hurt, being probably, hopefully, on drugs. How do you prep for that as a performer?
I mean, mentally, honestly, just trying to shut off. And I did a lot of praying. You know, I'm a believer, and so just, you know, leaning into my faith and knowing that God was going to help me through it. I didn't actually take any pain meds when we went live, because I didn't want to be loopy or forget things. And so I was in a lot of pain when I did it, and I had to lean over and been tenache up off the table, and that was hard enough without the broken foot, but having the broken foot in my hamstring, so you may be able to see a little of that pain in my eyes, but I think it worked for the character.
Sure.
So, you know, it's just, I'm very pleased and very proud with the work that was put in on Saturday, and then getting to actually do it live in the finale with the unfortunate mishap that happened. You know, I think everybody killed it, and everybody did a great job, because everybody's such a fan of Rent going into it. We just love this project, and this is definitely something that the world still needs to hear, things that we're still working through in our society, and just the essence of love and family and leaning on each other. And so I'm glad we got it out to the world. It's not the way we intended, but you know, I think there's beauty in the struggle, and there's a silver lining somewhere. So
sure. And you got to work with the original cast too. They came in, the original Broadway cast of Rent came in and did a little, helped out with the finale, I think.
That was so beautiful. I mean, we had staged that Saturday morning, so that was when we met them for the first time before I broke my foot. And getting to hang out with Adam Pascal and Anthony Rapp and Idina Menzel and Tate, I mean, just hearing stories and hanging with them before we went out and did the performance on Saturday. And then Sunday when we went live, you can see it kind of at the end in the credits. Adam comes over to me at the table, and he goes in to hug me, and he whispers in my ear, and he goes, "Man, I know you probably don't want to hear this right now." And he pointed at my foot, and he goes, "But that's probably the best thing that ever happened to you, because you're trending worldwide right now." And he made me laugh, and he hugged me and just told me I did a great job and I should be proud. And just very supportive. And you know, even before we went out live, Idina Menzel came over to my table where I was laying out, and she's like, "Oh, you did so great last night. You're going to do great tonight." Just very supportive. Just people. The Rent family is literally a family of love and support. It's been an honor and a blessing just to be a part of it.
So thanks so much for coming in
Thank you for having me.
taking the time, and we'll be looking forward to the film and everything else that you've got going on, and for you to not be on crutches next time you come.
I can't wait to walk again.
That'd be great.
Thanks for having me.
Well, and for more information on Brennin and what he's got going on, you can look for the Oklahoman and see this video on News OK.